Hello, this is Aruj Muzaffar from the Department of English, University of Southern Punjab. We are going to discuss humor, emotions, and memoir craft in Woolf's work This Boy's Life. This work of, represents life, occupies in a central place of the study of creative nonfiction. There is humor in this boy's life, often arises from exaggeration, youthful self delusion, and narrator's retrospective awareness. Wolf uses humor not to trivialize trauma but to reveal the psychological mechanism through which a child copes with insecurity and fear. His humor is subtle, dry, and frequently self directed. The adult narrator looks back at his younger self with a mixture of sympathy and irony, allowing readers to see the gap between childhood perception and adult understanding. This dual perspective, central to memoir as a genre, creates moments where humor and pain coexist, reflecting the complexity of lived experience. For example, Woolf's repeated acts of self invention, such as lying about his background, forging transcripts, or imagining himself as a heroic figure, are often presented humorously. This boy's fantasies are grand and unrealistic, yet they are deeply revealing. They demonstrate a child's desperate desire for control, recognition, and escape. The humor here is bittersweet. Readers may smile at the boy's absurd confidence, but they also recognize the emotional deprivation that drives such behavior. In this way, humor becomes a lens through which emotional truth is revealed rather than concealed. Emotions in this work, this boy's life, is conveyed through restraint rather than melodrama, where the emotion is conveyed not for the sake of conveying the emotion, but for making the reader understand the reality of that phase of life. Woolf rarely tells the reader explicitly how to feel. Instead, he presents scenes with careful details, allowing emotions to emerge organically, and this technique aligns with the principles of creative nonfiction, where showing is valued rather than telling. And in this way, writer shows the reality of that little boy instead of telling from his mouth or from the other people around him. That emotional impact is achieved through specific incidents, moments of fear, shame, hope, and disappointment that accumulate to form a powerful emotional narrative. This memoir's emotional depth lies in its honesty and its refusal to simplify experience into clear moral lessons. One of the most emotionally charged aspects of this memoir is the portrayal of Wolf's relationship with his stepfather, Dwight. Dwight is not depicted as a monstrous villain in a simplistic sense. Rather, he is shown as a deeply flawed, insecure, and abusive figure whose cruelty often manifests in petty humiliations and physical violence. Woolf's depiction of Dwight is emotionally complex because it acknowledges both fear and a longing for approval as well. This young Tobias wants to be accepted, respected, and recognized even by someone who consistently harms him. This emotional contradiction is central to the memoir's conflict, where psychological realism is presented instead of simply narrating the tales of the sufferings of that boy. Despite the seriousness of this relationship, Woolf frequently introduces humor into scenes involving Dwight, often through irony and something which is there as understatement. Dwight's self-righteousness, hypocrisy, and inflated sense of authority are sometimes rendered almost absurd, where a reader may identify himself. And this humor does not excuse Dwight's behavior but exposes his pettiness and fragility. By allowing readers to see Dwight's ridiculousness alongside his cruelty, Woolf resists reducing him to a stereotype. This nuanced portrayal enhances the emotional credibility of the memoir and reflects a mature ethical stance. A particularly effective section of this boy's life, and one that may be considered a favorite for its thematic richness, is the school episode, where the Chinook school section, especially the episodes surrounding Tobias' academic life and his eventual forgery of transcripts to gain admission to a preparatory school, are of great interest for the readers and audience because this section encapsulates many of the memoir's central concerns, which may be identity performance, morality, and the desire for escape as well. At Shinnok, Tobias is surrounded by boys who embody version of masculinity defined by toughness, conformity, and cruelty. It is a place where he is bullied, humiliated, and marginalized, yet he continues to imagine himself as exceptional and destined for greatness, which is a great optimistic part of his personality. The humor in this section often emerges from Tobias' inflated self image and the contrast between his fantasies and his reality. He sees himself as intelligent, refined, and morally superior, even as his actions increasingly contradict with his beliefs. His academic dishonesty, including plagiarism and forgery, is described with a tone that blends embarrassment and a dark comedy. The writer basically does not want to attempt to justify these actions. Instead, he exposes the rationalizations that is there behind them, and these actions that accompany uh, a sense of necessariness for describing these things. The humor lies in the boy's self deception, but the emotion lies in the desperation that fuels emotionally. This section is significant because it reveals the moral cost of survival. Tobias' lives and his lies and fabrications are not merely childish mischief, they represent a profound crisis of identity. He is so eager to escape his circumstances that he is willing to become someone else entirely, even at the expense of his integrity as well. The forced transcript symbolize that both hope and self betrayal. Where Tobias is eventually admitted to the school, the victory is tinged with anxiety and guilt as well, because obviously what he is preaching as a sense of morality is in contrast to his actions, underscoring the members' refusal to offer easy resolutions. This section also demonstrates Woolf's mastery of narrative voice. The adult narrator neither condemns nor excuses his younger self. Instead, he represents and presents the events with clarity and restraints, trusting readers to grapple with their ethical complexity. This narrative stance is essential to members' emotional power. By resisting moral simplification, the writer basically honors the ambiguity of lived experience and invited readers to reflect on their own moments of self compromise and self invention as well. Include in concluding this boy's life as a memoir, it is important to recognize the qualities that define its success within the genre of creative nonfiction. First and foremost, which is the important aspect of this work, is that it is based on the story which is designed on the parameter of truthfulness, not in the sense of exhaustive factual accuracy, but in emotional and psychological honesty. The writer has stated that a memoir requires fidelity to experience rather than mere chronology. This commitment is evident in his willingness to portray himself unflatteringly, acknowledging cruelty, cowardice, and moral failure alongside resilience and intelligence as well. Another key quality of the memoir is narrative craft, which is structured on the scenes as a series of vivid descriptions rather than linear record of events. Each episode is carefully sharpened and it shapes to reveal the character and theme. The dialogues are carefully written and depicted as well, and along with it, the story moves with a depth and an understanding which is very captivating for the reader and audience. I hope you have understood the core concept of this work and it is understandable for you. Thank you so much.